my god. What do I do? Alright, so we're going to talk about smokes cancels. And I saw a post on Twitter, and Honeybee posted it. And it was a very good post. I thought it was really cool. He was getting all these cancels going. It looked awesome to me. The comment section, on the other hand, was not great. A lot of people were talking about how smoke is overpowered. These cancels are crazy. It needs to cost meter. What the heck is going on with this game? So I thought that I would make a video to go over your options against all of this kind of crazy shenanigans where smoke's just canceling and going crazy with all these big buttons after his cancels. So the first thing to keep in mind, all of these cancels are negative. You can challenge all of these cancels. In fact, as soon as you see back forward 3 come out, you don't even have to wait for the cancel. I would push a button. And the risk versus reward is going to be heavily in your favor, and I'm going to go over why and all of Smoke's options here. So the first thing you can do, anytime you see it, just down poke, right? So you're able to down poke. You're going to beat any button that he presses. Can he block the down poke? Yes. All right, so he is safe, but it is negative. So he can block the down poke, and it'll be his turn. So one of the things that you want the smoke to do after the back forward 3 cancel is to block. That's really what you want to get him to do. And what else you could do here, right? So if he's using all of these big buttons, right? Big buttons. He's not poking. What you can do is utilize your own high, right? So notice I'm able to interrupt him. You can actually get a full combo every single time he pushes a standing button, all right? Because you're going to be able to get your move out first. So anytime that he goes into a cancel and into another button that's not a down 1, he's at risk of losing 40% of his life. All right, the risk versus reward off the cancel, keep this in mind, is always in the defensive person's favor. Now, let's get into some more layers to this. So with Smoke here, he can also block, right? And now it's his turn. So if you're throwing the pokes out, right, and he's blocking, now you're not in a great spot, right? That's why the stand buttons are so good. Now you may think, well, what if he doesn't cancel, right? You're pushing buttons right away as soon as you see back forward 3. Well, yeah. But notice the amount of health that it takes off. It's 7%. It's only 7%. Now, if you were to shake up how you block or how you attack off of the cancel, maybe you see that he's doing this, and every once in a while, you just block. And he does let it rip. It's -16. So he's trading, or he's getting possibly 7% for losing possibly half of his health if you block it. Right? So in every instance, the Smoke player is at a disadvantage whenever back forward 3 comes out, whether it's a cancel, whether it's going through with it. The Smoke player is always taking on the most risk. The defensive player is not. And that's something big to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that Smoke is a bad character. I don't think that he is. I think he's actually a really good character. Now let's go to another layer of this. Right? We have another layer. We got more layers on top. So if the Smoke player is doing either standing buttons or the low poke, right? We kind of talked about the low poke being tough to deal with, because if you're going with buttons, he's just going to poke you out of it. He's at advantage. He moves his offense forward. If you have a fast mid, so back 2 is 10 frames. I was doing this with Scorpion, and with Scorpion, it does trade sometimes with his forward 3. Forward 3 for Scorpion is 12 frames. So it would need to be faster than 12 frames to be fully consistent. So 10 frames seems like the ticket. Liu Kang's got it, back 2. Not all characters do. So it's not going to be universal for all characters. We're going to go with the down poke, right? So he's down poking. I'm going to back 2. And I can get a combo. All right, that's going to beat his down 1 because he's too negative. The cancel is too negative. All right, so whenever you see that forward 3-2 into the cancel, he tries to go with that down 1, just back 2. Right, if you're Liu Kang. Use a mid, right? You can do that. You can poke. Once he starts blocking, you can grab him. Right? Again, the risk versus reward is in the defensive person's favor. That's really what I want to take home here. You could also armor, like if you wanted to. That's risky though. Why do that much risk, right? I don't want to do that much risk. I don't want to take on that much risk as a defensive player. I don't want to armor through that stuff because if he blocks it, I'm dead. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm getting killed, right? So if I'm able to push buttons in a way where the only thing I'm eating is the end of the back forward 3, like he actually goes through with it, or a down poke, bro, I'm game for that. Right, I'm game for that. He's at risk of losing 30 to 40%. I'm at risk of losing about 7. Right? So this is the kind of stuff that you have to keep in mind when you look at a move in particular. Especially something like this that on the surface, when you look at it, it looks really difficult to deal with. And it can be. It's difficult to react sometimes to the cancel. You have to practice it. You have to go into practice mode, set the dummy up to do all this stuff, react to the cancel coming out, and get good at it. It's not easy. There's also layers that you can implement for this, right? So I have smoke with Kung Lao. There's more layers with the Cameo. So you can have Kung Lao come out, throw the hat down, go into, a mix, into a cancel. The hat comes through, right? And it's hitting you, keeping smoke safe. That's going to be like the most difficult thing to deal with. Also striker, right? So when smoke start layering the cameos on top as well as sector, right, you got sector coming up with the missile down on your head. These are what smoke players are going to have to do. High-level smoke players are going to do this to mitigate that risk of the cancel because you don't want the risk versus reward in the defensive person's favor in your offense. So he's going to have to use cameos. If not, challenge all this stuff, right? Challenge it, challenge it, challenge it. Press buttons, right? The risk is in your favor. Again, the risk is in your favor. So that's really what I want you guys to take home with this. And think about things in a way of risk versus reward, right? So what's the risk that I do X? And what's the reward that the other person's going to get? What's the reward that I'm going to get? And you can kind of mitigate situations in that way. It's a way that I don't think a lot of people think about fighting games. High-level players do, obviously. But a lot of the casual or middle-level players don't really consider that kind of stuff. And you're not going to be able to cover like every single thing all the time. But putting yourself in the best situation to mitigate risk and uptake on the reward, that's where you're going to shine. All right, so I just want to make that video to kind of cover this. This is a mindset you can also take to like any type of situation. So take the mindset, utilize it in other situations, utilize it especially here against smoke and his cancels. Make that dude pay. All right, if you like this video, be sure to click that subscribe button so you get updated whenever I post new content. Don't forget to click the bell. Also, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And as always, I want to thank you guys for checking in. It's Gleez signing out and continue to game strong.